Blackstone Audiobooks presents By the Grand Canal by William Rivière. Though gravediggers' toil is long, sharp their spades, their muscles strong, they but thrust their buried men back in the human mind again. W.B. Yeats. 1. The diplomat Hugh Thurne arrived back in Venice 2 days after the armistice. It was already dusk, but as he followed the porter who was trundling a barrow with his suitcases down to the quay, he glanced around delightedly at the grey houses, dull water, brown light. Far off, a scrawl of lightning flickered, and after several seconds faint thunder growled. A few heavy drops of rain fell, and then nothing. Thurne was so tall, and when no action was required of him would stand so upright and so still for so long, that when he'd been at Cambridge in the 90s, one young lady whom he had often taken out on the river had called him the Heron, or her darling Heron. Among his friends the name had stuck. And now, immediately feeling reinvigorated to be back on the Grand Canal after the train journey from Rome, in his tweed ulster and his trilby, he stood straight and immobile for a minute in the gondola, his eyes rejoicing in the vessels at the wharf. Then he sat down, crossed his long legs comfortably, and at once took pleasure in a damp gust that swept the fresh-water smell of coming rain across the briny smell of the lagoon, in a stevedore who hunkered down tiredly on a bollard and squinted at the sky, in the lilting motion of the boat as the oarsman pushed off and began to row. Practically the entire length of the Grand Canal lay before him. His house, Casante, was beyond the Accademia. And now, in the chill gloom of the November nightfall, the tideway winding ahead down its enfilade of facades seemed to offer all the beguilements his spirit longed for. Yes, here his disconsolate moods would hold off as they had in the past, he let himself believe, snugging his scarf more warmly around his neck and gazing ahead down to the palaces where a few lights were beginning to shine. Away from England, which these days was redolent of friends who'd been killed. Above all, away from London and his charade of a marriage, his charade of a family life. When, a few years before...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?